also, even Vaidyas also, they are simultaneously taking the drugs, the Ayurvedic drugs as well as and the other system medicines also they are being used. So never comes a thought in their mind that these drugs may be interacting with each other. But this is a very serious issue. In fact, this thought, this thought is found in our classics as well. Our acharyas, they have thought over it. They have a definite concept over these interactions. They know that drugs interact with each other. Not only drugs, but there are number of conditions, number of factors which affect the action of the drug. It's not only drug-drug interaction is there. Drugs will be interacting with everything. Everything. Whatever comes into their way, they will interact with that. I will give a simple example. Even time also, it acts with interact with time as well. If you know the hitahara and ahitahara, I will be touching that subject after, in the incoming section. So let us first understand what is drug interaction. So as far as the pharmacology is concerned, what is interaction? It's a pharmacological activity. First you understand, try to understand. Ayurvedic drugs are drugs. The problem with people is that they are not ready to accept Ayurvedic drugs as drugs. Although they call drugs, but at the back of mind, they have a thought they are not drugs. They are simple food supplements. They are herbal supplements. They are used for well-being, for wellness purpose, etc., etc. They don't define Ayurvedic drugs as drugs. Particularly outside the Ayurvedic community, nobody considers Ayurvedic drug as drugs, even though these are defined as drugs according to the Indian law as well, according to drug as well. So first try to understand that it's a drug. Ayurvedic drugs are drugs. In Ayurveda, the drug and food have been defined. You might be knowing, Virya Pradhanam Aushadam Rasa Pradhanam Annam Aharam. So there's a clear-cut demarcation between the aushadha or drug and the diet, food supplement or food. So when we consider Ayurvedic drugs as drugs, it's a pharmacological drug. It's a pharmacological activity. It has a pharmacological action. So activity of one drug which is altered by concomitant use of another drug. The activity of one drug, the drug is having a particular activity which is altered. It is altered. It can be altered by many ways. We will be looking at that, how it is altered. So when it is altered by concomitant use means simultaneous use of another drug or by presence of some other substance. Not necessarily it may be a drug. There will be another substance as well. There may be a food substance as well. So if it's altering the action of the particular drug, it is known as an interaction. So this interaction can be the action, alteration in action can be quantitative, it can be qualitative, or it may be in the form of precipitation of new or increased adverse effect. That means there are certain adverse effects of a drug. So they may be increased or many times new adverse effects may be precipitated. So this is the result of interaction. Interaction with some other drug, interaction with some other substance. So this is most important to understand. It may be quantitative. Quantitative means the action may be increased or decreased as well. Many times what happens, you are giving a drug and a particular dose, and you are giving that along with another drug or another substance. So you don't get the expected action because the action is decreased. Up to expected level it is not observed. So it will be decreased. Many of the times what happens, when the action is increased, you generally observe. But the decrease in action is generally goes unnoticed. Many times people say that no, Ayurvedic drugs do not cause any side effects, adverse effects. because they are not manifested. Only manifested things are generally recorded. The things, the signs, symptoms which are not manifested, they are not recorded, or they are not told by anybody. Recently, a survey was conducted regarding the use of Rosofidis by the CCRS. Almost 3 to 4 lakhs patients were recorded who were taking Rosofidis for 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years is recorded. It has been recorded that there is not a single side effect. There is no single adverse effect because of the Rosofidis. Because of the retrospective study. So nobody, even though they were having, we can't say that it is the fact. The fact may be, even though the patient might be having some problems, he might not have reported. So it's not that only manifested conditions are need to be addressed, but many things which are not manifested as well, they are also the adverse effects as well. So decrease in effectiveness many times goes unnoticed. That also we have to consider. So that's why any modification caused by another exogenous chemical, maybe a drug, a herb, a food, or in anything with regards to diagnostic purpose, for the therapeutic purpose, or other action of a drug in or on the body. So this is what drug interaction is as far as the pharmacology is concerned. Whenever you say, think about the pharmacology, this is the definition of drug interaction. Now, what about Ayurveda? Does Ayurveda think about this thing? Yes. This is very much necessary in as far as Ayurveda is concerned. As I already told you, that even a single ingredient Ayurvedic drug, you know, that if you consider it as a chemical chemical product, if a drug is considered as a chemical product, because every plant contains many phytochemicals. So it's a combination of phytochemicals inside that drug which is acting. So already there are a number of chemicals which are interacting with each other and giving a final effect. So already there is an interaction inside the drug itself. Apart from that, we are usually using multi-ingredient formulations. People are very fancied when they use number of formulations. Number of ingredients are more in the formulation. They say it's a very good drug. We find many cocktails. I always say there are cocktails in Ayurveda. Without thinking of their interactions in between, we go on mixing the drugs. I can give you a number of examples which are very funny, which appear very erratic when we consider the principles of Ayurveda. Many things are there. So one thing we should remember, that as you go on increasing the number of ingredients in a formulation, the risk of drug interaction enhances rapidly. It multiplies, proportionately it grows and increasing. You can see, it's recorded, if there are two products mixed together, there is 6% chance of the interaction. If 5 products are mixed together, 50% chances of interaction. And if 8 or more products are mixed together, there are 100% chances you are going to get the interaction. So just think over that. There are a number of formulations in Ayurveda that where more than 8 products, more than 8 ingredients are mixed together to generate a new product, which is very important. This is drug interaction. So we never think about that. It has been thought over by the classics. They know that it is interacting. So this interaction can be exploited to achieve the benefits as well. Remember, to our advantage as well. But it's not only that it will give only advantage. Many times it gives disadvantages as well. So we never think about those disadvantages. The original classics have used this interaction for the advantages, for extracting the advantage of that formulation. But unfortunately, later on, it has been observed that without giving any thought, the drugs have been mixed together and a new formulation is produced. Particularly in today's days, the patent and proprietary, I have many formulations which appear very erratic, as I told you. I will give a simple example of this erratic formulation. which you use in practice also many times you are using. Actually, I will tell you first the principle and then I will come to that so that you will understand it in a appropriate way. But remember always that as you go on increasing the number of ingredients in a formulation, the chances of drug interactions will increase many folds. So be careful whenever we are using the multi-ingredient formulations. Now, how this particular thought has come to in Ayurveda, how they are thinking about drug interactions in Ayurveda. The most important part is Viruddha Dravya Sankalpana. You are all Ayurvedic doctors, Vaidyas. You have many times you might have heard this word Viruddha Dravya, Viruddha Dravya, Viruddha Dravya. But I don't know how many of you are using this concept in your day-to-day practice. That's a because most of Ayurvedic principles are getting neglected in practice. We are just copying the modern medicine in every respect. And we are forgetting the principles. So if you forget the principles, you are going to face problems. It's very important, my friends. So this Viruddha Dravya Sankalpana is the concept of interactions in Ayurveda. It will be surprising for many of people who don't know Ayurveda, how deep thought is given to the interaction in this particular subject. They have thought over it in a very in-depth thought process is there. The first Viruddha Dravya is defined. What is Viruddha Dravya? It has been defined by the commentator, Hindu commentator in Ashtanga. He defines Viruddha Dravya as Doshan Utklesha. It's very important, my friends. Try to understand this. Doshan Utklesha Swasthanat Sanchalayya. Every word is important. Doshan Utklesha Swasthanat Sanchalayya Yad Dravyam Na Haret. I will explain this particular thing in detail. But just try to understand first. I am breaking the sandhi at every point so that you will understand its meaning is very important. Doshan Utklesha, that means dosha are Utkrishta. They are Utkrishta. They are inflated. Doshan Utkrishta, inflated. And what happens? Swasthanat Sanchalayya. That means in their own habitat, they are moved here and inflated. They are moving in here and they're in their own habitat, own home, we can say. Yad dravyam na haret. The dravya which you are introducing, it cannot remove that inflation. It cannot remove that inflation. Tatrayeva nashane bahirva, na haret tatrayeva nashane bahirva, nirhatum ashaktam tadviruddham. That means neither the drug can remove this inflation, nor it can extract the inflated dosha outside the body. It cannot pacify them in their own place, neither it can extract those inflated dosha outside the body. So they just get inflated in their own place and they start moving in there and cause all sorts of problems. So the drugs, the combinations, which cause such type of condition, which stimulates the inflation of their doshas in their own place, which is called as sanchaya. You know what is the definition of sanchaya? Chanchayo vriddhi swadhameva. It's in their own place. There is an accumulation. There is inflation of dosha in their own place. When it comes out of leave their place, it is known as prakopa. So we are not talking about prakopa. They get inflated at their own place. They start in place, and this cannot be removed by all the water. It increases because of the Viruddha Dravya. Neither then can be. It is ashaktam. That means it cannot be removed. That is known as Viruddha Dravya. This is very important to understand, my friends. So now, another very important thing which needs to be thought over with regards to the Viruddha Dravya Sankalpana or the interaction. You have to understand certain basic concept to understand this Viruddha Dravya Sankalpana or the interaction, my friends. Very important is the concept of Ekanta Hitakara and Ekanta Ahitakara Dravya. You Yajja Purusha Adhyay in Charaka Samhita, you can refer. In Sushruta also you can refer this particular type of concept. So it has been very beautifully explained. If you understand this concept, you will understand the interactions and the adverse effect and everything you will understand. The whole concept is very beautiful. Unless you understand this concept, you will not be able to practice any drug, my friend. Use any drug. It is very important to design even the food habits also. This is very necessary. So the concept of ekanta hitakar and ekanta ahitakar. Now, what is ekanta? Ekanta is, the meaning of ekanta is satatena abhyasa. That means which is continuously used. It's constantly used, satatyena used, frequently used, repeatedly used. Whenever it is repeated, it is continuously, forever. You can say forever, you can say. Ekanta hitkar is, it has a wholesome or beneficial effect. So there are certain categories of substances which are forever beneficial or forever wholesome to the body. Whereas there are certain substances which are forever unwholesome or harmful to the body, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the sex, irrespective of the condition. They are always hitkar, or there are certain substances which are always wholesome or beneficial. There are certain substances which are always unwholesome or harmful to the body. Now the example is given. Some experts opine that this is not right. No substance can be always beneficial and no substance can be always harmful. It depends. So that's why it's they are giving the example. Yad vayoh pachyam tat pittasya apachyam iti anena hetuna. And you know, the thing which is pachyakara or wholesome or beneficial for vayu will be harmful to pitta. What is pachyakar for vayu, which will be harmful for pitta? For example, the ushna gunadharma. Now, ushna gunadharma will mitigate the, alleviate the vayu, pacify the vayu, but at the same time it will increase the pitta. For example, taila and kanji. Now you know taila, it pacifies the vayu, whereas it will inflate the pitta. Same thing is regarding kanji as well. So the one thing which is beneficial for vayu will be at the same time it will be harmful to the pitta. So that's why ekanta hitkar is not possible. It's not correct. That's what it is. Na kinchit dravyam ekantam ane ekantena hitam ahitam va asti iti kechit acharya pruvate. Some acharya opine, some experts opine that it's not right to say that some drugs are always beneficial, some substances are always wholesome, and some substances are always unwholesome. But this particular opinion is again not correct. How? So Charak has refuted this particular case. He says, Tattu na samyak. It's not right to say that. Why? यह खलु यस्मात् द्रव्याणि स्वभावतः संयोगतश्च एकांत हितानि एकांत अहितानि हिताहितानि च भवन्ति. It's not right, because it is the nature of the drug or the substance, nature of the substance, which may be always hitakar, always wholesome, which may be always harmful, or which may be at the same time it may be beneficial as well as harmful as well. This is very important. This concept is very important. For example, vanne ushnatvam. That agni ushnatva, it is such a thing. Or apam dravatvam, it is their nature. You can't change the dravatva of the water. You can't change it, apam dravatvam. So it will be constantly like that. You can't change it. So this is not correct to say that sometimes it is like that, sometimes it's not. It's like that. But it can be how does it decided? How the wholesomeness and unwholesome decided? Swabhavataha sanyogatascha. The substance, because of the combination, because of their nature, they may be ekanta hitakar, ekanta ahitakar, or hita at the same time. So this ekanta hitakar and ekanta ahitakar concept needs to be understood at the appropriate way. So beneficial for one, harmful for another. Hence, nothing can be ekanta hitakar. This is not true. Ekanta hitakar or ekanta hitakar or hita and ahitakar. It depends on nature and association of a substance which is being used in your treatment or you are introduced. Another very important thing. Now, how it happens? What is swabhavata? Swabhavat, what do you mean by swabhav? Swabhavat iti prakrutehe. Swabhav is prakriti, nature, constitution. Prakritasya jati pratibadha swarupam, because prakriti is continuously, inherently associated with a particular substance. Every substance. Everybody has its own nature, which is inherent. You can't change that nature. Sabhava nispriti kriyaha, we know that. For example, you give an example of Raktashali. Raktashali, you know, the red variety of rice. Shashtikshali, Raktashali. Shashtikshali means the rice which is harvested within 60 days. That is why it is called as Shashtikshali, which is known to be the best quality of rice. So Redishali, Shashtikshali, why it is always wholesome? It is always beneficial. Why? Because jati pratibadhatam, that wholesomeness is inherently associated with the shali. So that's why tatra pratibadham cha laghutvam iti trimalapahatvam. Why? Because it is very light for digestion and it is tridosha shamak. It alleviates all the three doshas. That's why it is always wholesome. You can't change this habit. You can't change the laghutva, or you cannot change its tridosha nashakatva. That is why it is always beneficial, always wholesome. Ekanta hitka. संयोगो द्रवाणाम मेलकः सचैः द्रव्य प्रकृत्य तिरक्त कार्य कारको ज्ञेयः यथा मधुकृत समान संयोगादिति. संयोग विरुद्ध. Now, as I told you something, sometimes some संयोग, some combinations, some associations are very dangerous. They are always unwholesome, always harmful. It's not that at one time they are harmful and one time that. It's not like that. They are always harmful. For example, madhu and ghrita in similar quantity. Same quantity. Equal quantity. Same. 1 gram of madhu and 1 gram of ghrita. If you are combined together, they are just like poison. Why? Because it is prakriti anuguna sanyogosya pratikarena gahata. Because that combination is most dangerous. It is their prakriti. It is the constitution of that combination. It's dangerous for everybody. Very important. Now you say how it is. People say no, it's like that. It's not. See, another very important, as I told you, we always consider the things which are manifested, which are observed immediately. But we never consider the things which take time to get manifested. So it's not that madhu and ghrita, you take some time at one time and immediately you will feel something. It's not like that. But if you go on doing the same thing again and again for some time, after over a period of time, you will get its harmful effects. So you don't observe that. You will never think about this also, that this is happening, this particular thing is happening because I am doing something. You might have observed in your practice also. Many times patient complains about something, and when you go into the deep inquiry, people will tell you something which will be the hetu of that particular disease. So if you ask them, for example, some people are having a habit of drinking water, a glass of water at their bedtime. Every night they drink 1 glass of cold water, and after some days they get rhinitis, common cold, running nose, headache, etc., etc. So if you observe that, if you ask them only to simply stop drinking water, you will get the results. So this is very important because he never thinks that this is going to cause the problems. So this is why very important. So sayogena cha sambandha matra vidayana desha kala samskara matra nam cha atrikta phala nam grahan. So that is why whenever you are thinking about the viruddha dravya sankalpana, you have to consider all these factors. You have to consider swabhava, you have to consider the sanyog, you have to consider desha, kala, samskara, matra. All these things need to be considered because they are going to have an effect, maybe adverse or maybe beneficial as well, on the drug which you are using. I will get another some of the examples. Very important. This I have given already. Samagrita, madhugritani cha sanyogat viruddhani. This I have already told you. So this is very important. Another is hita hitani tu yad vayo pathyam tat pittasya pathyam iti. So ekanta hitani prayaha swasthya anuvrittikaram tad ekanta hitam. Now which is known as ekanta hitakar, that means always wholesome, always beneficial. The substance which swasthya anuvrittikaram, That means which promotes your health, physical health, mental health. It always promotes. Not a single time is there where it doesn't promote. So which promotes your health is known as Ekanta Hitakar. And Ekanta Hitakar, which always acts against your health, which depletes your health, which promotes depletion of the body tissue, depletion of your health, is known as Ekanta Ahitakar. Swasthya Aviruddham. Swasthya Viruddham and Swasthya Aviruddham. This is very important. Swasthya Anuvartikaram, which follows your health, and Swasthya Viruddham, that which opposes your health. That is very important. Hita hita is yattu swasthya ahitam roga avastha niyatopayogam tad hita hita. That means usually it is ahitakar. In usual day-to-day life, it may be ahitakar for you animals. But when the roga avastha comes, that needs to be used. It is beneficial in a particular disease state. I will give you some examples of this particular thing. For example, now everybody knows Dashmul, very favorite drug of you people. All the practitioners, in fact, everybody uses Dashmul. Frequently you use. It is jokingly said that the quantity of Dashmul being used is so large that its production is less than its use. So you take anything and you use as a Dashmul. So Dashmul is known to be Tridosha Hara. It is Dashmul. It's Tridosha Hara. But unfortunately, even though it is Tridosha Nashak, it mitigates Tridosha, it is Swasthya Ahitakar. If you give Dashmul in a healthy person, it will harm its body constitution, harmful to his health. It will prove harmful. So don't use Dashmul unless you are sure that a person is diseased. Dashmul is not a drug which is used to be used in healthy persons. It is going to cause problems. Even though it is Tridosha. This is a very good example. It is given our Ekanta Ahitakar, but in Rogavastha it is Hitkar. If there is this is inflation of dosha is there, then it is good. So it's Ekanta Hitkar Yattu Raktashali Amalakadi Tridosharam. Another example. Raktashali and Amalak. They are also Tridoshar. Yadapi Swasthya Hitataya Ekanta Hitameva. Now there are two examples I am giving of Tridosham things, substances. One is Dashmula, which should be only used in diseased condition. It should not be used in the healthy persons. Whereas the Raktashali and Amalakadi, they are also Tridoshkar, but they can be used in both conditions. They can be used in a healthy individual also, they can be used in diseased individual also. So this is the difference, because they are Ekanta Hitkar. Amalaki and Raktashali are Ekanta Hitkar, whereas Dashmul is Ekanta Ahitkar. That's why, because it is not good in a healthy person. Second example I will give. Evam Gritam Kaphakaram Api Swasthena Ekanta Hitataye Ekanta Hitamem Yoktam. Grita. Same thing. It is Kafakar. Even though it is Kafakar, it inflates the Kapha, it is Ekanta Hitakar Dravya. So this is very important. But in some conditions, if some person is having Kapha Vriddhi, Grita should not be used. People living in the marine area, seaside areas, Grita is not good for them. Very important, my friends. This is very important. Anupadesha, Grita is not good. So it's very important. Even though it is Kafkar, it is Ekanta Hitkar, but still in these conditions it will not be. So Rogi conditions in Roga side is not good. Eva Agnya Japi Arshado Hitamapi. Agnya here in this reference, Agni is known, Chitra. Chitra is referred as Agni. Plumbago zilanica. So it is useful, very good in piles, fistula. It is particularly piles, hemorrhoids. It is good. But in normal condition, in healthy persons, it is Ahitkar. So Swasthya Ahitataya Ahitatam Eva. That's why it is Ekanta Ahitakara Dravya. Chitra Plumbago is. Now that's why whenever you consider the Viruddha Dravya Sankalpana or the interaction, you have to consider four types of considerations: Sanyoga Viruddha, Karma Viruddha, Mana Viruddha, Rasa Virya and Vipaka Viruddha. Let us consider all these factors, how it is being used in the general practice. Now I will be giving you examples which are actually examples taken from the classics only. You can find number of examples from the similar lines when you're in your practice. You can see here Valli Phala. Valli Phala means any fruit which is you get in on the climbers. Huh? In the climbers, for example, the bottle gourd or kaddu. There are so many which grow on the climbers. So those type of phala, for example, Kushpanda adi vallijam. So Kushpanda is Valli Phala. So Kushpanda, any Valli Phal mixed with milk. Very important. So Valli Phala and milk, they are a Viruddha Dravya. Should not be used. They will interact with each other. Very, very, very dangerous. Same thing, the Chatrak and Kshira. Mushrooms. Nowadays, mushrooms are very popular. So mushrooms should not be mixed with milk. They are again problem. Vigataroham Chadakadiyam. That means the sprouts. Sprouts should not be mixed with the milk. So sprouts and milk. Then some meats, different types of meats. Then fish mixed in milk. So milk mixing with all these things, because why I'm talking about milk? Because milk is very commonly used. It's a very important dietary constituent. Many people use it. So use milk very carefully when you're using it in your diet. So don't mix milk in all these things. They should not be taken together. Why? So Ati Sutaram. Why they should not be used? They are Ati Abhishandi. Ati Abhishandi. Very important. Please mute your mics. I'm getting disturbed. So don't mix milk in all these things. Sarvam Chamlam Paisa Ekadyam Viruddham. Any sour tasting fruits, they should not be mixed in milk. Again, this why? Ati Abhishandi Sutaram Vyadhim Upajananti Amavisham Cha. Now, another very important word here, it has been used. We have to understand the meaning. Problem is, we are not able to define our own terminology. And that's why we are not able to use it. Now, the Abhishandi is very important word, my friends. You have to understand the concept of Abhishandi. What do you mean by Abhishandi? It has been beautifully described. The word Abhishandi, it has two words. It is a sandhi of two words. Abhi and Sandan. Abhi is an adjective. It's a word. Abhi means prakarshena. Prakarsh, it is the intensity. It indicates the intensity of a particular Sandan. Sandan, what is Sandan? Sandan is flow. Oozing is flow. So prakarshena sandyat sandati. Prakarshena kleda visruti. That's what Sandan is kleda visruti. Which is flowing, which is oozing. The kleda. What is kleda inside our body? Everything which is serous fluid. So in short, you can say Abhishandi are the substances which enhance the serous exudations. That is why, because of this, they result in intercellular pressure is also increased. There is a clogging between intercellular space. Even the intracellular space also, they swell. Because of that, the cell swells. That is a clogging of the cells. And when the cells swell, two cells come swollen cells come together, they will block the channel. That is known as Srutaavarodha. That is why Abhishandi Dravya are Srutaavarodhi. So Abhishandi means which increases, enhances, augments the serous exudation is known as Abhishandi. So all these substances, they are known as Abhishandi. Now the effects of this Abhishandi will be observed over a period of time. If you want to observe it instantly, I will give an example. You just observe or you just imagine or remember, try to remember. If somebody is having running nose, common cold, and he eats curd, what will happen? Do you know? His running nose increases. It grows, the flow, nasal flow increases. If so, a person is having weeping wound, wound or eczema. In that case, if it takes curd, eats curd, what will happen? The eczema will deteriorate. It will start weeping, it will increase, the serious condition will increase. So that is what is Abhishanti. So all these combinations, all these things, the sprouts, if taken in sugars, milk, and all these things taken in milk, they will be increasing the Abhishan, the serious exudations, and which is known as, it will also cause the amata, samata, as well as the serious, the kapha will increase and it will cause the samata. So that is why it needs to be avoided. Few of the examples again I will give you regarding the interactions. For example, Kshiram Kulathaihi. Now, Kshira and Kulath, Kulti, Pitta increasing, which increases very, very Pitta inflator. So, why? Kshira, Vipaka of Kshira milk is Madhura, whereas Kultha Vipaki is Amla Vipaki. Whereas Virya, as far as Virya is concerned, Kshira is Shit, whereas Kulitha is Ushna. That's why they are Virodhi. Kshiram Panasena, Panas, Panas. Again, Rasa Vipaka, although they are sweet, Virya is also sweet, but still, even though Rasa Vipaka and Virya are similar, still they act as Virodhi Dravya. Kshiram Matsyehi, again the same thing. Rasa Vipaka, they are same, but Virya, Kshira is Shita, Matsya is Ushna, that's why they are Virodhi. Taptam Dadhi, Sanskara Viruddha. There are examples of different I am telling you. Vipaka Virya Viruddha, Vipaka Virya same as Vipaka Virya Viruddha, Sanskara Viruddha, Mana Viruddha, Desha Viruddha. Very important. This is very important that Yavaka and Toya Hataraste. This is very important. They are saline soil. Saline soil means, sometimes in Marathi we say Kharat Pani. So it is very saline tasting water. It comes from the saline land. So that is known as saline, Desha Viruddha, saline soil. This is very important. Vari Ushare, Toya Starate, Yavaka and Toya, they are mixed together, they are very dangerous. Ratrisha Satavashtasaha, that means Kala Viruddha. You should put Saktu. Saktu, you know what is Saktu? Saktu is Pakva Dhanya. If it is Dhanya is roasted, the grains are roasted and they are cooked. That is known as Saktu. So the Saktva, if they are stored overnight, then also they are called. Or Yavaka, if they are mixed in water and kept overnight, then also they are dangerous. That's why Toya Taraste is known as. If they are soaked in the water and kept overnight, they will be, that is called as a Swabhava Viruddha. Because why? Because Yavaka is Ruksha, remember that. Yavaka is Ruksha, whereas Toya is Ardhra. So mixed together for a longer time, they will have an adverse effect. Kala Viruddha, again important. This Kala Viruddha is again important. This is very important because we many times we forget the importance of Kala in day-to-day practice as well. Even the time of Bhichan Sevan Kala. How many of you practice Bhichan Sevan Kala in your practice? I don't know. But they are very important. Because the Kala has a definite Kala Parinam. It has a definite effect on every action. The example I will give you regarding the use of Shodhana procedures, different procedures, woman and Virichan procedures. Vasanta Sharada Pravarna Keshu Ahasu Vamladina Pravrutti. What happens? We practice woman in Vasanta Rutu and we practice Virichan in the Sharad Rutu. So, and in Pravat we practice Basti. So there are season-specific Shodhan procedures are there. Season-specific expurgation procedures are there. If you don't practice them in the properly, they itereshu shitoshna varshakeshu ayoga ati yoga yoga bhaya nivritti vamanadina. If you don't practice these procedures in that particular season, they are likely to cause ayoga, ati yoga, or mithya yoga, and which is going to cause many problems. So this is known as Kala Viruddha, interaction of Kala with your drug. So now you understand how in depth these interactions have been taught over in our classes. Bala Vichar, Bala Viruddha, very important. Now, this is a very important quotation, and it's very important. It is useful to in practice. Many times there is a question is asked: when to practice the Shodhan and when to practice the Shaman? Because Shodhan and Shaman are two important treatment procedures, management procedures in Ayurvedic practice, in every Ayurvedic practice. People are very fond of using Shodhan procedure frequently, but it's not like that. You have to take a definite decision when Shodhan is prescribed and when Shaman is prescribed. So if you don't use at the appropriate time, it acts as a viruddha somewhere. It interacts with Kala, Bala. It interacts with Bala. So that's why if the Sharirapa is adhika, more, then doshanuropo hi bhaishya pramana vikalpo vyadhi vyadhita bala apeksho bhavati. Because whenever you are treating a person, giving administering a drug, you have to consider the vyadhi bala and deha bala. So vyadhi vyadhita bala apeksho bhavati. So what is the severity of the disease and what is the strength of the person you are treating? It may be physical strength, particularly physical strength. As course, you have to take mental strength as well. But as far as drug tolerability, endurance is given, you have to take physical endurance is most important in this respect. Because the physical procedure which you are doing. So if the Sharara Bala is adhika, that means this person is strong enough, is physically strong, then only you have to use the Samshodhan Chikitsa. Express and question. Now, how do you decide Sharara Bala is adhik? The strength, if the person's strength is strong enough, because he is strong, undiseased, in that condition, if he is facing glani mursha amataroha balakshayaha, if he is manifesting, he is facing glani, he is facing mursha, moha, it indicates that vyadhi is not severe, but his bala is problematic. His bala is severe, strong. And that's why you can definitely introduce the Samshodhan Chikitsa. So, Sahasa Atibarani Samshodhana is. This is a general rule, remember very well. It's not that every time it is applicable, but it's a generalized rule. In Shodhan also, there are again two types, Asaumya and Saumya. So, Agneya Vayavya Shodhan Dravya, if you are doing Shodhan by Agneya and Vayavya Dravya, it is strong, Tikshna, it is Asaumya. Whereas Nabas Parthiva, then it is Saumya. So you have to take a decision if you have to use the Tikshna Shodhana or you have to use the Saumya Shodhana. So accordingly, the first important thing which is to need to be shown there, before introduction of Shodhana, you have to consider that patient is strong enough to tolerate the Shodhana procedure. So if he is not able to tolerate the Shodhana procedure, it will be harmful for him, it will prove harmful for him. And if the Vyadhibala is more, usually it is the condition. If Vyadhibala is more, that disease is severe rather than this, then you have to see Samshodhan Chikitsa. Particularly, it is manifested with Glani and Agnisad. Glani is at both places, but particularly Agnisad. If Agnibala is less, it is downregulated Agni is there. In that case, you have to use the Samshodhan Chikitsa. So classification is most important when Vyadhibala is more, whereas this Shodhana is introduced, needs to be introduced when the Dehabala is more. So Shodhana is not a procedure which should be used frequently in every patient, because some of our doctors are very fond of giving Shodhana. They try to give Shodhana to everybody. It's not like that, my friends. You have to be very careful whenever you are doing that. This is again another example you can see. I will not go to details, so many things are there. Mamusa should not be, the meat should not be mixed with all these things, Virudhanya, Vasta, Madhu, Guda, Paya, Masha. They should not be mixed together. This again Viruddha. There are other examples of Viruddha. They are all available in our classes. I will not go in details because you will. Another very important factor which I want to point it out is mixing of Madhu and Ushnodak, because there are many people, I come across some patients who always say that we take honey by mixing in it hot water or warm water. It should not be done. It is again the most important interaction which I have to consider. Madhu and Ushnodak, they are Viruddha Dravya. And most harmful, if you go on taking the same thing again and again, they are going to burn. Madhu and Ushnodak are prescribed at only one place in the classes, where it is for women, for administering the woman. There Madhu and Ushnodak are prescribed. But otherwise, in the regular practice, they should not be given. They are most dangerous combination there. Madhu and Ushna. Madhu should be always kept away from heat. Madhu should not be heated. Honey should never be heated. It will totally remove them. It will make honey toxic. And these toxins are going to harm you over a period of time. Not that immediately you will get that. But it is very important it should be done. So it's very important. This is one other. Sura, Krushara, and Payas. Payas, you take milk. By Payas, of course, Payas means kheer usually, but Payas you can take milk also. So Krushara and milk should not be mixed. This is a very common practice in our house. Many houses I see that people mix Krushara, that means khichdi and milk. Khichdi and doodh should not be mixed. Again, it's a Virodhi combination. Very common used in most of the Indian homes. Khichdi and milk. Dangerous combination. Don't use it. Avoid it. Kadali phala, kela, banana and milk, banana and curd, banana and takra. Again, not a good combination. Again, a dangerous combination. Because it's amla. So any sour fruit mixed with dugha, milk or dahi, it is again not good. Same thing regarding mash soup as well. This is very important. Many people think that I will eat first, eat fruit, and then we take the milk. Or I will first drink the milk and then I will take the sauce. No. Prak paeso anteva. That is before or after taking the sour things, sour substances. You should not take milk. Milk is contraindicated along with before or after these sour substances. Any sour substances. Maybe lemon, maybe orange, any sort. It's very dangerous to take that. Fruit salad, very common we take. Most dangerous, my friends. Once in a while, no issue. But if you go on doing it frequently, because in some houses, there is a practice to take, particularly the people who are having banana in their home. They eat banana and milk every day, which is known as shikran in Marathi. So that's the most dangerous combination. Don't take it regularly. Once in a while, it's okay. No issue. But no ashniyat. Now the karma viruddha. Very important. Karma viruddha is again very important. There are certain important. Karma viruddha means the processing, which you are processing. Whenever you are processing certain things, this is very important to see whether the processing is correct or not. Now, what is this processing? For example, you can see Ushne Ushna Kale Grishme Sharadi Chitartham. For example, there are so many things. Ghee stored in Kasya Bhajan, in bronze container. If you store it, or you store this honey in a bronze container, it's very dangerous. Even consuming of honey in Ushnakal, in the summer or autumn, you should not take honey. Honey is not good in this Ushnakal. Only winter you can take honey. But in Ushnakale, Grishme Sharadi Chitartha, because honey is not, the heat, hot temperature is not good for honey. That's why it should be avoided in Ushnakal, in summer and autumn, April, May, October, November, when there is October heat is there, or summer heat is there. Don't take the honey. So there are a number of examples. I will not be dealing with all of them. You may refer it in the books. Now, Mana Viruddha, again, I have told you the measure, which is equal measures, Budhu Ambuni, Budhu Satishi. In equal measures, they should not be taken together. I have already described these things, so I will not repeat. Now, sometimes, even though there is a interaction is there, that interaction needs to be used for the benefit of the patients as well. Sometimes it can be used. Now, how it is be done? Whatever the factors I told you which are going to cause the interaction. As I initially also in my initial introduction, I told you that this can be used for our advantage as well. So what is that advantage? For example, Vriddha Sape Kvachit Prayogam Darshana. So you have to consider Rogam, Satyam, Desham, Kalam, Deham, Buddhiman, Aveshagnadikal Bhava Roga. In distinct conditions, these interactions can be used for the advantage of the patient. You have to exploit that as well. For example, here example given, Udarina tilamatra vishabhakshanam. For example, in Udar Rog, the poisons are very dangerous in other times. But in Udar Rog, tilamatra vishabhakshanam is beneficial. It is useful for the person. Krishna Sarpada Ushtra Ikshukanda Bhakshanam. Ikshukanda Bhakshan is important when there is a snake bite. Ikshukanda Bhakshan is important. So there are certain things which can be used to advantage. The interaction can be used to your advantage in the diseased condition. It's very important. So in short, we have seen different types of interactions in this up till now. Now let us see what you have to consider, because whatever I told you, I have given examples from the classics. Now you say we don't usually come across many of these interactions which you are told. We don't use these substances anymore at all, because Laukuj Phala we never use. There are so many things which we will never use in today's scenario. So how should we think regarding to this scenario? My friends, whenever you are using combinations, certain things you have to consider. It's not that every time you have to have an experience of using that combination. It's not like that. You can forecast the interaction as well. Now, forecasting of interaction is most important for you. There should be a forethought. Whenever you are administering two drugs together, different drugs together, you have to consider that you actually, whether it will have some interaction. If it will have interaction, what type of interaction it will be, that you have to consider. So, how to do it? So, factors related to co-administration you have to think of. First thing is dose. What dose you are giving? What is your regimen, dosing regimen? The route of administration, pharmacokinetics, and therapeutic range of that. If there is a therapeutic range is very more therapeutic range, wider the therapeutic range, there are more chances to get therapeutic interaction. Narrow the therapeutic range, there are less likely you will get the interaction. So this is very important. So this is so how do you think regarding when you are cancer herbs, you have to consider the species, the dose regimen true. Regarding patients, what you do? Regarding patients, you have to consider the genetic polymorphism. You have to consider that. Some patients are genetically they are having a problem. Genetically there are certain deficiencies are there. Genetically they are known to have a particular deficiency or particular enzyme deficiencies, hormonal deficiencies. That you have to consider. Then age, patient's age is very important. The geriatric group as well as the pediatric group, both are likely to get drug interactions. Why? Because in the pediatric group, many of the enzymes are not yet developed properly. They are just developing, they are in a developing stage. So many enzymes which are required for the metabolism of the drug, they are not found in the pediatric group. Whereas in the geriatric group, many of the enzymes have decreased because the aging process, they are depleted. So again, they don't have enzymes for the metabolism of a particular drug. So most important, whenever you are introducing some combinations in pediatric cases and geriatric cases, please think carefully. I know that in pediatric cases you are thinking about that, where there are certain limitations are there. But usually in geriatric cases, what happens? There are so many comorbidities. So that is why you administer one drug for each comorbidity. So if suppose a person is having 5 diseases at one time, and it is very likely, very commonly found, you will give 5 different regimens for that patient, and all the 5 regimens will be interacting together. So try to identify these issues with minimum drug interventions, and this is possible through Ayurveda. If you consider the problem is, whenever you are producing a drug, considering only its anti-disease effect, this happens. But if you consider the therapeutic action, pharmacological action of the drug, you will reduce the drug. The quantity of the drug. I will tell you how to. For example, a person is having Parkinsonism, you will use dopamine. He is having hypertension, you will use antihypertensive. He is having anti-diabetes, you will use hypoglycemic drugs. He will have some schizophrenia, you will have another drug. So the number of list of that prescription goes on increasing and increasing again and again. Because you are thinking only about anti-Parkinson, anti-diabetic, anti-anxiety, all these things you are doing. Whereas if you think the action of the drug, Ayurvedic actions of drug, for example, let us think about that good drug we will be using. So the Broad action is required in number of conditions. You want Lekhan action. Lekhan action will be required in all these conditions. Then your number of drugs will be reduced. But you never think of that. I don't know how many of you think about these actions. Dipan, Pachan, Brohan, Lekhan. I don't know how many of you think about that. So you go and consider the action of the drug. Your number of drugs will be automatically reduced. It will come to minimum. And you'll be able to address all these diseases by few number of drugs. So this is very important. So gender is also important and pathological condition as a comorbidity. So all these things largely determine the extent of clinical relevance of drug interactions with the health. So it's very important, my friends. Don't think that for plant drugs, do not interact with the modern cells. They do interact. I will give you some examples. You know, there is one case I know. I remember that case. I always tell whenever I talk about the drug interactions. A 12-year student, girl student in Pune, long back, or maybe 10 or 15 years back, she was a case of epilepsy. She was to get epileptic fits. So she was on Dilantin at the time. She was taking anti-epileptic drug. Continuously she has to take because unless she takes that drug, she can't go down. She can't survive. So he was on that drug. So what happened? She was appearing for 12th examination. And during that period, her mother, as every mother is very conscious about their children, particularly when they are appearing for 12th examinations. They want that they should score maximum marks, 100% marks they should score. So they want to enhance their memories. So they do all sorts of things to improve their memory. So that lady has started Shankhapushpi for that girl. She was taking Shankhapushpi to enhance her memory. Nobody understood because there is an advertisement in the market, Shankhapushpi is good for increasing memory. So she was taking Shankhapushpi. So what happened, my friends, you know, Shankhapushpi and Dilantin interacted together, and when that lady went for examination in the examination hall, she got an epileptic fit and she could not appear. She fell down on the floor and she returned back. And post-factum it was observed that she was on Shankhapushpi and Shankhapushpi prohibited the action of Dilantin. That's why she got the epileptic fit. My friend, this is very important. So you have to doubly think about these things. The drug which is having similar actions, whether it is acting the nervous system, it is acting, definitely it is going to interact together. Hypoglycemic drug, patient is on a hypoglycemic agent, and you are again giving some hypoglycemics. Plants you are giving, they may be having some hypoglycemia, so they are going to reduce the drug, the dose of the drug. So they will interfere in the action of the drug. This is very important, my friends. You should understand these things. Appearance of enhanced drug effects and adverse usually associated with a doubling or more in the plasma concentration. How does it occur? Why does it occur? Usually it occurs because the drug plasma concentration increases suddenly because of this interaction. The absorption increases. They come in the plasma concentration and they have the adverse effect on this. So, however, less marked changes may still be clinically important for drugs. The steep concentration response or a narrow therapeutic index is very important, my friends. Certain drugs are having very narrow therapeutic index. That means the therapeutic dose and toxic dose are very small range. Small demarcation line is there. So they are having a narrow therapeutic index. So you have to doubly sure whether you are advanced to certain type of interaction. It's very important. Many times you ignore the subclinical effects. You never consider that. Many people tell me, no, my patient is taking resolutions for so many years and I don't observe any side effects. Have you ever examined? Have you ever examined his blood levels? It is very important. You have to observe that. Have you examined his some histological findings or kidney biopsy or like that? Have you seen that? Have you carried out sonography or all that? You have to observe all these things. This is very important, my friends. So you have to monitor whether you are continuing. This is very important thing which I should tell you, that no drug should be continued for more than 7 days unless you observe positive effects, unless you monitor. This is very important. If you don't don't see any effects with drug for continuously 7 hours. Train at least. Change the drug. Don't use it. Even you continue, you have to observe, examine it properly, monitor it properly. I'm not telling something from my side. I'm telling you what has been told in classes. There is not a single thing which is not described in classes, but you have to look for it. Look it for appropriately, you will get your answers. Very important. Extent of drug interaction with us varies markedly among individuals, I told you. Very important, depending on inter-individual differences, drug metabolism enzymes, transporters, co-medication without drugs. These things will be covered by Mukund in his lecture, so I will not spend much time on speaking on these particular issues. So these are the things you have to consider whenever you are talking about the interactions. These things, all these things will be considered whenever you are giving combinations of drug, combinations of drug and food, combinations of food, combinations with color, bolo, etc. So all these things also, this is very important. So these things you need to be considered. These are the manifestations we used to be called of the Viruddha Dravya. Another important. It's very important. Vyadhim indriya dorbalam varanam jati gachati. Viruddha rasviyani bhunjano anatma naraha. If you go on and continuously taking Viruddha Dravya, what will happen? You will either get Vyadhi or you get indriya dorbalya. Now this indriya dorbalya may be manifested sometimes it may not be manifested. And at the last, what will happen? Patient may die because of the interactions. So this is very important. One important Sanyogastha Prani Jatulyani Bhavanti. So some of the combinations are just like poisons, toxins. Otherwise also, the drug, a very poison drug, if it used appropriately, it can do like an Amrit. Very good drug. Amrit also, if it misused, inappropriately used, it could be very highly poisonous. So it is very important to know all these things, my friends. This is an example regarding the Google. I have taken this example because this is very commonly used. The same thing again, we are just like Google, the Google. It is said that the quantity of Google used by the practitioners is much less than the quantity of Google produced every year. So you don't know exactly what you are using. So this is very important. But Google is contradicted also, is remembered. Those daily dose of the Google as well as the total dose of the cumulative dose of the Google is also described, but nobody knows it. Nobody pays any attention to this. Srishta Prayoga Satla Param is completed. Vivek, Google is to be drunk, remember. I will not be talking much on that because again, Google I will require much thing. But beware of Google. Google cannot be given more than 3 to 4 grams per day. Maximum 3 to 4 grams per day, and it can't be continued for more than a month. Very important. So this is very important. People are taking Google for years together, and you get number of problems because of Google. Another very important thing. See, this one is Tasmat Rajani Charanishi Syat Naroge Swami Shucho. The whole of use of Gulu Nidhi appear Kuria, so Atimatra Upyuktaha, Tibir, Bodanasho, Shaklipata, Karsha, Moho, Shamarashidribhavam, Deharoksham. These are the manifestations of overuse of Gugulu. And if the person is having these particular manifestations before giving the Gugulu, then in these conditions, if person is having Timira, person is having Vadanashosha, Rokshatva, Klaibya, Karsha, Moha, Shamarashidribhava, Gugulu should not be used in this condition. These are the contraindications of Narogeshu Amishucha. Rajnita means Gugulu. It should not be used in these conditions. So if you use this, again it will be a Viruddha Dravya in these conditions. This is very important. Now the most important principle regarding the interactions, the combinations. We have I told you there are many combinations which are very popular in the market, which are not correct, very incorrect. I will give some examples. Why is happening? Because when I told this, somebody from the audience got up and said, "No, sir, the physician has a freedom to use as many combinations as he wants." And this quotation was told to me. Now, my friends, this quotation is in relation to Vaidya himself. This is not applicable for industry, drug industry. Drug industry cannot quote this quotation. This Swabuddhi is Vidya's Buddhi, not the industry's Buddhi, not the pharmacist Buddhi. Pharmacist has no right to prepare odd combinations. But Vaidya can do that. Looking at the condition of the patient, requirement of the patient, he may reduce some from a drug for an ingredient from a formulation, or he may add one ingredient, some ingredient in the formulations. So this is very important. But while doing that, what you should have done is viruddha viryam apesham pradhananam abadakam adhikam tulivyehi kriya samatamishyate. Consider this very important. Whenever you are using the combination, consider that combinations, they are not acting against each other. They are, even though they are viruddha virya drugs, but still the virya, that means the potential of that particular temperament of the potency of the drug is not so much that it will affect adversely to the principal drug, the action of the principal drug. Principal action of drug should never be obstructed because of addition of some viruddha virya drug. So it's very important. So you have to take principal drug into consideration, and accordingly you can go on adding. Adhikam tullivirya, if you are adding tullivirya drugs, then it is going to increase the action of that particular. If you are using the opposite viruddha virya drug, it is going to reduce the action of that particular drug. So the reduction in action should not be so much that the drug will not lose its expected activity. So this is a basic principle which you have to consider. I was talking about the example. I will give you an example. Many of the practitioners in practice, they use the combination in hyperacidity, Amla Pitta, Tribhurikiti and Prabhala Panchamrit. Very common combination. My friends, remember very well. Tribhurikiti is a Pachak drug. Whereas Prabhala Panchamrit, Prabhala Bhasma, Shankha Bhasma, they are Pitta Shamak. They are not Pachak. Very important, my friends. They are not Pachak. Particularly Prabhala Panchamrit, they are Pachak. They are not Pachak. They are Shamak. So you can't do Pachak and Shamak together. What will happen? They will, sorry, not Tribhurikiti, Suchekar and I was talking of Suchekar and Prabhala Panchamrit. Many people use Suchekar and Prabhala Panchamrit together. So Prabhala Panchamrit will obstruct the action of Suchekar. So Suchekar needs to be used only in Samapitta. It cannot be used in Nirapitta. If you use in Nirapitta, the Pitta will be inflated, more and more inflated. So in Samapitta, you can use it. And Nirapitta, you have to use Prabhala Panchamrit. So where Shaman is required, where Pachan is required, where Shodhana is required, that you have to take a decision accordingly. They should not use the combination. I have seen one combination of Tribhurikiti, Vat with Dhvams, and another combination was Tribhurikiti, Vat with Dhvams, and Suchekar. One of the combination. When I went to visit one of the pharmacy, he was telling me, this is a very good combination, sir. We have used Tribhurikiti, we have used Suchekar, we have used Vat with Dhvams also. Because if they, now how the hell you are using this combination? Because Tribhurikiti can be used only in Vatrapachijua. It cannot be used in Pitta. So it is contradictory, in fact. Same thing regarding Suchekar. Suchekar should be used only in Samapitta Avastha. So how are you using it, all these things? It can't be used when the Pitta is Prakopit. And Vata is only Vata Prakopit. So how can it's a very odd combination? It's viruddha virya. So this is going to cause problems. So my friends, remember, even in, I will tell you, I don't believe in the books which are published after the Brihadarashtra and Laghutraya. Even Laghutraya also there are certain problems. There are many combinations, particularly in our Rasagantha, there are so many problems. There are certain cocktails I always tell my students. What are they? For example, there is one example of Navaratna Rajabratanka Ras. Now we contains Navaratna and whatnot. That means whatever you want, you have mixed it and prepared a cocktail. What action do you have? It is very odd. You should not do that. Every ingredient in the drug should have certain action. You should have purpose for addition of that drug. So it is better not to use integrated formulations. My advice is that don't use any formulation which contain more than 5 drug ingredients. That's my opinion. Don't use that. Because if something goes wrong, you don't know exactly why it is happening, which particular ingredient is responsible for a particular condition. So be careful when you're using such type of combinations. So think about all this. Particularly when you are preparing new for you should be much very much careful. So this is now you have to think about these things. Last one, maybe this is the last slide. Mechanism of drug interactions. Now, while administering drugs, I told you are administering drugs. When a patient comes to you, he is already taking certain drugs. You are giving something. So what you should think about? Think about the pharmaceutical, think about the pharmacodynamics, think about the pharmacokinetics. Now, pharmaceutical incompatibility, that means the method of preparation, processing, what you are using. So, when it is compatible with that particular data, many times you can't understand the pharmaceutical incompatibility. You may not be in a position to decide the pharmaceutical incompatibility. But pharmacodynamics, definitely you can do that. How? For example, you know Rasaviri Vipak of your drug. That is our pharmacodynamics. And actions also, particular action, not the pharmacodynamics is the Rasaviri Vipak, but pharmacodynamics is the actions. Deepan, Pachan, Lekhan, Shamana, Bruhana, all the Rasayana, all these are the pharmacodynamic actions, dynamic actions. So, if you are giving a particular drug, which is very similar to the drug which is being already taken by the patient. For example, patient is in some hypolipidemic agent. Just imagine, person is taking some hypolipidemic agent, and you are giving Gugulu, which is also a Lekhan Dravya. Now these two drugs will interact with each other, and what will happen? The Lekhan action will be either increased, or many times they may be acting on a single receptor. In that case, what will happen? They will antagonize each other's actions. So there is a possibility of antagonism. There is a possibility of addition or summation. There is a possibility of synergism or potentiation. So I told you the example of Shankhpushpi and Dilantin, it's the action of antagonism. Because Shankhpushpi antagonized the action of Dilantin, that's why the patient got the epileptic fits. So if suppose, in case of certain drugs, for example, you are giving garlic, Rason. Now, Rason is it is used as a hemolytic agent, the hemolytic action. So, if the person is given aspirin, which is also a hemolytic agent, it dissolves the clots. The same action Rason is also having. So, if suppose the patient is on aspirin or a similar drug, and you are giving Rason, what will happen? The patient will, if suppose he starts bleeding, his bleeding will never stop. So that is going to addition or summation or synergism action, potentiate the action. Same thing with the hypothyroidism drugs, thyroid drugs and Kanchana Gugul. If they are taken together, it is very likely that there will be addition or synergism. So we don't know what will happen. So, but at least think about that. That whenever you are giving a certain drug, along with another hypotensive drug, for example, you are giving Sarpagandha and the antihypertensive, it is very likely that they will interact together and the patient will get hypotension and suddenly he will fall down. So this is very important. Same thing regarding the diuretic drugs. Same will happen. The Virecha, Mutra Virecha Dravya. You consider the Guna, Dashamani Gana for its action. So why is happening? Because we never consider the action of the drug, which is very important. So if there is similar action is seen, then it is very likely that either it will antagonize, it will add or synergize it. Same thing regarding the pharmacokinetics, Rasaviri Vipak. So it's regarding ADME interactions, whether it is obstructing the absorption, whether it is obstructing the distribution, whether it is obstructing the metabolism, excretion. I will give you an example. Certain drugs are there which need to be taken after taking the food, whereas some drugs are to be taken before the food. Because the food obstructs the absorption of the drug. So it's very important. That's why antibiotic and food should not be taken together. It is always said that antibiotic you have to take antibiotic before taking the food. So similarly, Ayurveda has considered the Bhaishya Sevankal in a very appropriate manner. Such a procedure of thought procedure is nowhere observed. Because everything related drug administration, time of drug administration is decided on the basis of the Pachana Avastha. The Avastha, whether it is a kala, apana kala, udana kala, vyana kala, samana kala, they are thought. We just introduce a drug for 3 times a day, tedious. I always say, giving either tedious is a tedious procedure. Action of that formation of drug is expected, and accordingly you have to administer the drug at that particular time. So this is very important. Consider all these things. So my friends, remember very well these points. To conclude my speech, I will say, remember very well, nearly all men die of their medicines, not of their diseases. So give medicines very carefully. Think about all these points which I have given. The points will be more clear after you listen to Mukund's lecture. So thank you very much for giving me patient listening. If there are questions,